Thomas?
Yeah.
You know how we said like the new sports cars are overweight and soft and too many comforts?
Yeah, like the M2.
Yeah, like the M2. I'm starting to think I was maybe wrong about that.
Because those comforts would be real nice right about now.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Oh wait, no, this is the M2 video. We can't show them the road trip now.
Oh, that's right. Throttle House. I'm Tom.
And I'm James.
And this is the new M2. It's now more adaptive, figuratively and literally. It has adaptive dampers. It can be optioned with adaptive cruise. You can adapt brake feel, and you can ask it to close the windows for you. But sometimes, as many psychologists will tell you, adaptive behaviors can become maladaptive. So have they changed the M2 for the better? And is it worth the $76,500 Canadian starting price that BMW are asking for it? Well, let's find out.
And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe, hit the bell.
Accusations of overweight, overtech, all threaten the purity of this new M2. But what is no threat is the power department. This inherits the S58. A full-fat M engine. Thomas's car with the N55 engine code isn't really a true M engine. We fight about this, but it really needs an S to be an M engine now. And this has the same engine from the M3 and the M4.
Which means that even though it's detuned, powering this over £3,800 M car is an inline-six engine that produces 453 horsepower. That's only 20 horsepower shy of the base M3.
However, that thing about the weight, we kind of did a really bad scientific calculation and we figured out that it's only got 10% more power to weight than the original M2, which suggests, and we didn't look at it, that probably less power to weight than the M2 Comp, or the M2 CS at least. And it doesn't feel that quick. I really thought the S58 would make this a monster, because the M240i already batted above its weight with the B58 and the X-Drive. So why doesn't this feel quicker? It's incredibly turbocharged. So, I mean, the M2's always been a lesson in turbocharged midwifery. It delivers the turbocharged baby as you enter the turbo threshold. So if I slow down here to 18 miles an hour and floor it in second, nothing, into the threshold, push, excitement. But I don't remember it being that peaky. You really have to enter the turbo threshold more than I remember you had to in the old one. In fact, if I go to fourth gear and I slow down, some vehicles, there's enough power that even in fourth gear you feel a push. But here's fourth gear at 30 miles an hour. Full throttle. 3,000 RPM. That feels quite slow. And unfortunately, that means that this new M2 isn't that exciting in a straight line, unless the whole time you just stay in the threshold. That's where you get the sound and the shift lights. About the sound, it's got that classic inline 6 tone to it, but it just feels, you know, with the turbochargers, it just feels stifled. It feels like it's happening in the room next door. It does burbles and crackles on the overrun with the exhaust, which is nice. It's got a really deep, bassy, but something like an Audi RS3 with its 5-cylinder sounds a little bit more exciting. But what the RS3 doesn't have, and this does, is a manual option. This is the 6-speed manual, which allows me to engage more with the car. But as with most modern BMW shifters, I don't find it that engaging. The clutch feels light and vague, great for daily driving, but not my bag, and the shifter itself is just goopy and springy, and the shifts are a bit longer than I want them to be. And then the alternative you have is no longer a DCT. It inherits also the ZF 8-speed Steptronic from the M3 and M4.
Which, in a weird twist of fate, wakes the M2 up like a bucket of ice water to the scrotum. And this was something we were only able to find out at the end of our filming day when granted the opportunity to take the automatic M2 on a short test drive. The 8-speed's shorter gearing and snappy shifts resuscitate the car's lively antics and make it feel significantly quicker at all times. In fact, it's so much better matched to the car that it makes the manual transmission feel like an afterthought. Which is a shame, because elsewhere they've actually taken some feedback and improved one of the shortcomings the manual M2 has always had.
One lovely update with the new BMW stuff is in the previous M2s, you used to have to turn traction control off on your high horsepower rear-wheel drive spiky pocket rocket in order to turn off the rev match. And the rev match is great, but if you wanted the very pure natural downshift movements, you had to turn off traction control. That's not the case with this one. You press setup and you have a gear shift assistant. So I've set M2 to have gear shift assistant off. So that's nice. I can have traction control on, I can get home alive, and I can operate the transmission exactly as God intended. So, apart from that, everything kind of feels M2-ish. From the powertrain to the transmission, there's nothing that's really come along and improved it massively. It doesn't feel like the bigger jump that I wanted it to be as the one that inherited this new engine. The fact that I can floor it in second and not break any traction means that this is becoming more approachable M2, for better or worse. But don't take it from me, because they say that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But if you've ever been on car forums, you'll know that hell hath no fury like the previous generation owners of a car that has a new model out. Like my friend Thomas, for example, a bitter, jaded, Long Beach blue loving bastard.
Oh, whoa, hey, hold on a second. I'm going to be open-minded about this, okay? I'm approaching this calmly. I'm zen. But the thing that James said about it being more approachable, that's not why I bought an M2. That's not why the M2 exists. It was a little bit edgy. It was spicy. It was dangerous. And this one has a longer wheelbase than the previous gen. It weighs about as much as the new M4. So I'm worried that they've rounded out the edges a little bit. Okay, I'm calm. I'm happy. Got a manual transmission, got rear-wheel drive, got a beautiful landscape. I got my Pelote shoes. Oh yeah, actually. So, Pelote sponsored this video, as you saw at the beginning, and this is not something that we normally do, but Pelote contacted us and they sent us a bunch of shoes about 6 months ago. We've actually been wearing them in our videos for a while now and testing them out. And I've been using Pelote racing booties for a while. Insert shameless racing photo with a trophy here. But they sponsored this video and they wanted to show off these new ones, which we've been testing, which are called the Shift. And they're actually really great. They're like suede, made in Portugal. No, handmade, really cool. Anyway, we'll overlay some shots for you. More information at the end, but right now, let's drive an M2 in the canyons. So, feels similar in a straight line, sounds similar, but what I have noticed is that for whatever reason, there's almost too much grip. I don't want this much grip. Even when I put my car, my OG M2 on PS4S's, a little bit of water there, that's why I slipped. Even when I put my car on PS4S's, I can't keep the thing in a straight line, and that's what I love about the M2. This one, for some reason, I don't seem to be able to play around with it quite as much. It's not as spiteful, and that does mean, listen, this is important, that does mean that it is objectively better as a car. That means it's more stable. You could probably set a faster lap time with it. And the ride is also objectively better too. Not by much, but it is better. There's less of that extra bounce that the previous M2s would give you. And in this one, there is adaptive dampers. So if you go to setup, you can program M1 or M2 to have the chassis in Comfort Sport or Sport Plus. If I'm being honest, I can't really tell that much of a difference between the three modes. I've really, really tried. I think that Sport Plus is matched better to the spring rate than Comfort. Car feels a little bit more planted. But it is still an M2. It's still a bit stiff. But as a car that I just want to misbehave in, this one doesn't do it quite as well as the old one. But that part I can kind of deal with. What I can't deal with is that the M2 is the first BMW, in my opinion, in the new generation of electric power steering that actually had decent steering. They put a lot of time into finding a way to make that electric power steering system translate road feedback through. It doesn't feel like they've put the same amount of attention into this. This is very numb. The steering in the previous generation M2 is better. Come to a stop here. But they have sorted out one thing. The old M2 would do an annoying wheel hop occasionally when you're doing a burnout, something to do with only having one mount for the differential at the rear. This one, though, it doesn't do that. It still does BMW tomfoolery. It was good fun. I'm splitting hairs because, well, I own one of these and it means a lot to me. But for you, if you've never driven an M2 before, this will feel as much M2 to you as any of the other M2s that have ever come out. It is still an M2, it drives like that. But for me, someone who wants to nitpick, it's lost just a little bit of that spicy nature. Still a good car though, on the inside. Okay. James, the time has come for us to talk about the styling of the new M2.
Well, hold on, we've got to be careful because in the past, we've been quite critical of the BMW's looks. And
Yeah.
as a result, we've had a few warnings.
So, yeah, when we say warnings, we mean head honchos from Munich have kindly requested that if we're going to make any comments about the styling, that we do it professionally.
Yeah.
So
I guess that means like with objectivity, allowing for the audience to kind of figure out their own opinions.
this looks like a donkey's festering piece of. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting that went to town on itself. In the most public restroom with another truck stop.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've maintained decorum,
Yeah.
which is more than I can say for. Nope, not wearing the tie, can't say it. Okay.
Anyway, that was just mostly to poke fun at the Germans. I don't think this is actually that bad. From some angles, I had to get that sentence out before you jumped on me.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Right.
Not jumping on you.
Okay. This grill with the frameless bit,
Yeah.
I don't mind it. It's a cool idea, and it looks like a normal BMW grill to me. I don't really have any issues with that.
To me, it looks like the eyebrows have been burned off of someone's eyes.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
But then this bit here, why?
Well, when I think of so the M240 was the last time we drove a 2 Series.
Yes,
2 Series.
yes.
And in the M240, they had the kind of triangular inserts. Here, they've gone full GT2 RS vibe.
Yeah, but it doesn't work on this car.
Not particularly well.
No, and then down the side, okay, so I will say that the profile of this car, in terms of proportions, like where the hood is and like where there's a Hofmeister kink, that's fine, actually.
You got a problem if it doesn't have a Hofmeister kink?
I do have a problem with that.
Your mum never told you not to kink shame?
He's probably been waiting to say that joke for months.
Ever since my mum told me not to kink shame.
Speaking of kinks, here's one in the hood right here. What do you think about that?
It's aggressive. I don't. I'm going to remain professional. And I'm going to say it's Toronto red.
It is Toronto red.
Go Canada. Don't know why, because
quite orange.
It is quite orange,
yeah.
and the Toronto flag is blue. So
it's all confusing. Down the side of the car, if you actually look at the old M2, one of the classic hallmarks of a BMW is that these strong lines run down the side. All of the early 2000s cars had them, and the most recent BMWs had them. But now, in the M4 and in this one, you can actually watch the reflection on the side of the car just go, yeah. Right? Like, where's my strong line right now?
Yeah.
So you see right there where and then the rear end, I don't even want to talk about it.
no, it's not great.
It's got at euphoria.
Here's the what is that euphoria?
One eye's looking at you, one eye's looking for you.
It's unacceptable. You're not even wearing the tie. I don't think it looks terrible. I just don't think it looks beautiful. And I'm going to give you credit here, not you credit, but the original M2 credit.
Okay.
In Long Beach Blue, it is one of the most stunning cars on the road.
Yeah, it is.
And that title has, everyone's going to have their own opinion of this. I just think it's definitely lost that title, and I imagine most people would agree with that. I do love the 50-year M anniversary badges.
The badges are cool, and the wheels look great. However, importantly, I have learned that these are cast wheels.
Yeah.
They're not forged. And even the base wheels, the stock wheels on the original M2 were forged.
So these are heavy.
I don't actually have the weights yet, they haven't told me, but I hope that even though they are cast, they're not any heavier than the original wheels, because that's just like an easy spot to save weight.
But
right?
yes, it is. But you can get some M Performance parts. I don't know if they reduce weight, but there's also an M Performance exhaust that basically turns the car into an IS 500.
Yes.
They've really doubled down on these
weird
vertical exhausts.
I don't mind the look of it. It's kind of funky, but it just doesn't feel like a BMW that bit.
Yeah.
This one has a sunroof.
Yes, which is nice.
No.
No, because this isn't a daily spec. This is the comfy seats, the sunroof.
Okay, yeah, it has the comfy seats. In Canada anyway, the sunroof is $1,500.
Okay.
We don't actually have the US pricing for that yet.
But if you don't option that, you have a steel roof?
You have a steel roof, which is good.
And you can option a carbon fiber roof.
This one doesn't have the carbon buckets, which is a shame, but shall we take a look anyway?
Yeah, because is it a shame?
Okay.
They're quite comfy.
These seats are actually quite comfy.
And the carbon fiber buckets, you have to like become the Thriller video to like climb into.
Yeah, you get it. The thing is that the buckets, first of all, they're brilliant seats.
Oh, I love them.
They're light, they fit very, very well. I think they're better than Porsche's buckets.
Yeah. They move, like they're electrically adjustable.
Yeah. And they look incredible.
But they are half of, for the Canada, it's carbon fiber package, you got to get the 13 grand. So
yeah.
It's a big jump.
It's a big jump. And these seats look quite good. And we've done a couple hours in them now.
Yeah.
And you know what?
No, and as it stands, this is
comfy.
only a few grand off a manual Supra. The moment you add that $13,000 package,
yep.
Oh,
However,
20% more.
However, speaking of seats, the one reason you would get this car over a manual Supra is why?
You have rear seats.
Yes. And that was why one of the reasons I got an M2.
Because it fits adults comfortably.
Adults comfortably. This one does not.
No.
You just you can't find a spot. You can't even like slouch.
Yeah.
Right. We're not even 6 feet, and we can't sit in the back.
In a pinch, you could squeeze an adult in there.
Yeah, you could, but it's not. I wouldn't call it like safe or comfortable.
But that's not the option you have with the other. There's Nissan Z, the Supra, the F-Type. None of those can do it.
So
it still has that.
Has that.
Just a bit worse.
Anyway, the rest of this is very, very nice. This is standard BMW stuff now.
But it's a huge step up from the previous M2.
Oh, whoa, wait, hey, whoa, hold on.
Huge. No, the
whoa,
quality,
hey.
the fit and finish.
I like the old M2. The old M2, the one that I have has the old iDrive. Right? This is 2 steps later.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the tech. Sorry, just the build quality.
Okay,
the
fine.
actual, like, when the screens are off, it's got these...
Listen, this is a step up in build quality, but I don't think it's not a huge difference.
Huge. With a Y. This got the colours in the door here, which throbs. Right?
Can you...
You've got lots of things that throb.
Please.
We haven't got matte black around the stick here.
No, we do have matte black. We don't have gloss
We have
black.
matte black.
Anyway,
Why did Matthew get that name?
It's not Matt's black. He doesn't
I
own
think
it.
it's Steve's black.
Okay. Anyway, this carbon fiber down here is nice, and I like this on the dash. That's pretty cool. And even though I have a sunroof, which is stupid and you shouldn't option an M2, I still have lots of headroom. So.
It's very similar to the M240. I'm almost upset that the M240 got this colour scheme here.
I feel like it should have saved it.
But I do love the colour on these seats here.
It's really neat.
I feel like the last 6 BMWs we sat in that had M stripes somewhere, we were annoyed. How dare it?
Yeah, I know.
How dare it? So
this one's allowed to have it.
Yeah,
so
it's
we
so
get
nice
to
to have it.
Relax. No, but otherwise, ergonomically, I really, really like this car. Remember how everyone complained? No, it didn't complain. It was true. The seat in the original M2 is actually tilted a little bit.
Yes.
I never noticed it personally.
Is it doing it now? I've never noticed it either.
Actually, now that I don't think it is. Either way, I can't tell.
We still don't know.
The seating position is very low. The steering wheel comes right at your chest. I have like just enough elbow room, and I can kind of rest my arms here if I need when I'm cruising. So I really, really like this cockpit. However, this is a cool looking gauge cluster. This is, I honestly can't even keep up with the rate at which BMW changes the graphics on these gauge
changing
clusters.
a lot. But if you go into sport mode, I like that.
Yeah, that's fine. But you know what? I miss having just an analog tack. It doesn't actually have to even be analog, I'll be honest. It just needs to look like a tack. I've grown up with like the feeling of that sensation you get when you bury a needle, right? There's a bar that rises.
You bury a thermometer.
Yeah, it looks like a thermometer, right?
Like a meth dealer hiding his tools.
You shift at 7 degrees, right? It's it's weird. I don't really like that.
All right, let's zoom out slightly. I want to zoom out because
Okay.
this is a very important class of car to us, and it's been quite formative for Throttle House as well, between M2s, Nissan Zs, to all car enthusiasts. Like this is the do you make the jump from your GR86 or your
Right.
Miata?
Yeah.
And I would say this is somewhere near the top of the range, because we just drove the Emira,
Yeah.
which, as sensational as it was, not only did it jump in price the day we posted the video, right?
Yeah.
The order we put in, which was supposed to arrive December 22nd, got delayed to April, and then August, and now it's February 24.
Yeah.
So now it's just so much money. It's not in this class anymore.
No.
So really, the M2 does this new M2, like, Supra, Nissan Z, M2, Cayman. What's going on? Is do you know what I mean?
I don't think anyone knows what you mean. Anyway, what James is trying to say is that what are you trying to say?
I'm wondering if... Okay, so let me rephrase this a little bit.
Please.
We wanted the M2 to come along.
Yes.
Right, it's currently only a few grand, give or take, more than the Supra in manual spec.
Yep.
And it has an S58 engine in it.
Yeah, it's got a full
and it's
M engine.
2 rear seats, and it's rather than being accused of being a partner with BMW, it's full fat BMW.
Yep.
Does it come along and dethrone all of those? Does it make a Supra and a Nissan Z a dumb decision?
That sounds like a question for the conclusion.
But I wanted to do it now.
Okay, fine, we'll do it here. Fun cars that sit on the wrong side of 50 grand have never been about need. They're about want. And desirability is a tricky mistress. She has a host of instruments with which to entice you. Looks, power, sound, comfort, tech, speed. In our minds, the M2 has improved in some of those areas, but not significantly enough to become the indisputable champion of its class. The incoming Mustang GT, for example, is more powerful, less expensive, and somehow lighter. A Toyota Supra is more wild, and a 718 Cayman, despite its aging cabin, feels more focused.
Objectively, the new M2 is more refined, more powerful, more tech-filled, and more confidence-inspiring than ever before. And with its best foot forward, that is, not with the manual, but with the 8-speed auto and the carbon fiber package, the M2 is a significant enough jump over the already impressive M240i, but those extras knock it frighteningly close to the price of an M3 and M4 competition, which are, quite frankly, in another league of performance and fun. And what does M stand for if not those two things? In either way, it doesn't matter. The M4 might look like a disgusting donkey's, but now the M2 looks like a trash can. So, the choice is yours. Thanks for watching.
And don't forget to check out the new Shift shoe from Pelote. As Thomas attempted to say earlier, they're incredibly comfortable, make working the pedals on your car very easy, and still have the prestige of being handmade in Portugal using Italian suede or leather. And they come in 9 colours. They're perfect for everyday wear, and like the rest of Pelote's shoes, they are specifically designed for driving. Even Karston is rocking a pair. Look at that little smile. And if you don't trust us, check out this dude on the website. He's way cooler than we are, and he has a McLaren. Anyway, check them out on pelote.com and use code THROTTLE15 for 15% off of your order. Free shipping and free returns. We wish you many happy downshifts. Thanks for watching.